Hello everyone, I'm Nini FC and this is Blue Lines TV, and today I'm bringing you guys the match preview for our upcoming game tomorrow against West Ham in the Premier League. But before I get straight into the video, you guys know what the deal is. Hit that like button, help me get more than 300 likes to this video, and also you guys, if you haven't pressed the bell notification button, what are you waiting for? No excuses, press that and stay tuned to all things Blue Lines TV. And if you guys haven't seen the earlier video I released earlier today, make sure you watch that before you watch this one. That was the predicted 11 video for the game against West Ham tomorrow. Watch that to understand what type of lineup I think Conte's going to pick. Starting with West Ham's form, they've won 2 out of their last 5 games in the Premier League. Their last game was a 3-0 win over Southampton last week, but before that they lost 3 games on the bounce, conceding 3 goals and more in each game. And during that time there's been a lot of controversy surrounding West Ham, a lot of pitch invasions. The fans aren't very happy with their board at all. There's been a lot of anger directed at the board members, and it just hasn't been that good for West Ham this season. Prior to West Ham's 3-0 win over Southampton, David Moyes actually took the whole squad to Florida during the international break. They were able then to unwind and try and get the squad's motivation back into the team, and it was no surprise that they beat Southampton 3-0. One thing we can't forget as well is that West Ham have been very good anytime they've played any teams from London. They've got very good results against Spurs and Arsenal, and they haven't really been getting thrashed by any of those teams, so really it is going to be a very difficult game tomorrow. We do have some stats working towards our favour. The last time West Ham did do the double against us was in the 2002-2003 season, and we're currently on a 12-game unbeaten run at home against West Ham. On top of that, I don't think a David Moyes team have won away from home in the past 14 games. But what can we expect tactically from West Ham? Well, since David Moyes has taken over at West Ham, he has introduced a very fluid and flexible 3-4-2-1, but it's not fluid and inflexible in an attacking sense. Mainly, it's more fluid and flexible defensively. Basically, with this formation, the plan is to have enough men in defence and in midfield. So this effectively creates a 5-4-1, and basically with a 5-4-1, what you're hoping to do is keep your shape very compact in the middle. You're trying to force teams out wide to force them to put crosses in, and then you're hoping to have your numerical advantage essentially with obviously your back 5 and your midfield 4 very deep and compact to each other, obviously winning aerial balls in the air. Still, West Ham don't only just use a 5-4-1, sometimes they do switch to a 5-3-2 as well. It really depends on the attacking players playing for them and what their counter-attacking strategy is going to be. David Moyes has used Cresswell in Azpilicueta mould, in terms of the fact that of course we know Cresswell is a fullback, but he has been playing as a wide centre back in the back 3 system, and he does look to use the long balls of Cresswell to help start counter-attacks as well. Arnautovic plays as the lone man up front, and since he's been moved to a striking position, he has been very good this season. Having that sense of freedom, that allows him to express himself, and having that sense of freedom as well to move into any area he wants to be in actually helps him more as well. In behind will be Joao Mario and Lanzini, and with these guys, they've all looked to obviously help in the counter-attack as well. And when West Ham do defend off the ball, they all look to drop deep as well to create a 4 midfield. Now, when it comes to West Ham's counter-attacks, they're surprisingly efficient. I think they rank in the top 4 or 5 for counter-attack goals scored in the league this season, and that makes a lot of sense. I mean, that game against Southampton last week really emphasised their qualities on the counter-attack. How will West Ham look to play? Obviously, they're going to be looking to play without possession. West Ham have tended to have less than 30% possession, and in the bigger games, they tend to have less than 25% possession as well. They really do favour that compact shape in midfield, obviously the back 5 as well. They want to make sure that no one is going to get through them. They don't want any half spaces to be open. They don't want any space in behind to be exploited as well. They're happy without playing with the ball. And this is why West Ham can be very difficult to play against, because it's just about breaking through that wall, and it's a very thick and strong wall. And with Masaku, it has kind of been one of the revelations of the season. Since he's had a wing-back role over playing as a full-back, having that extra attacking license has really brought out his qualities, where he has that sense of freedom to really express himself and get forward. We know that he's very good at beating his man. He's very skillful as well, has a very good first touch, and West Ham look to use him on the counter-attack as well. They look to use him to break the lines, obviously, help create some of those, advantageous situations in the opposition's half. But what's West Ham's weaknesses? Well, there are three main weaknesses. The first one is they don't create enough attacking opportunities, and that makes a lot of sense. Obviously with David Moyes, he's not really the type of manager that focuses on attacking plays and training and how to break teams down, and obviously transitions as well in terms of what to do in this situation and that situation. And he's always tended to be a very defensive minded coach. And it's no surprise that this links in perfectly with the second point, is that West Ham are a team that when they lose their motivation, then you see a completely different team. And it makes a lot of sense, as I was saying in the earlier point, when the manager's getting players who aren't necessarily suited to this type of defensive counter-attacking style, it's quite common that once the chips are down, let's say they've conceded or they're losing badly, that their motivation standards aren't going to be very high, and they're going to tend to make even more mistakes, and they're not going to get back into defensive positions enough. That was one of the key problems under Bilic when he was the West Ham manager. I always felt that any time it came to West Ham's pressing off the ball, it was basically non-existent. And for me, I have to always blame the managers. That's what they're supposed to be working on in the training ground. It was always very, very inconsistent, and that's been one of the reasons as to why West Ham, they were playing with too much arrogance under Bilic, attacking without doing any of the dirty work behind it, and it was no surprise why their form wasn't very good under him. And West Ham's third weakness is the fact that they only have a plan A. And usually what tends to happen is, if you score the first goal, you're more than likely going to win the game. West Ham don't know how to react. There's a reason why they've been doing well against some of the bigger teams in the league, because they're able to play to their strengths in terms of just defending deep and not playing without the ball. But when it's come to teams around their level, of course, you can't necessarily have that same approach for, let's say, a Bournemouth, to play with less than 30% possession. So it's no surprise that when they do concede first, they tend to create even more space at the back. Don't really know how to react to those situations, and it always comes down to the managers and what they work with the squad and training. Now, what can we do to beat West Ham? It's very, very simple. Get the first goal. Once you get the first goal, the game is in our favour. West Ham have to react, and then they can't play the uber defensive game, which is very hard to break down. I mean, we saw it earlier this season. Once they go in front, that can be a massive issue. I mean, if West Ham went in front, it's going to make it even harder for us, because they have even more motivation to play without the ball. And, of course, it's just maths, you guys. If you're numerically, outmanned by your opposition, there's only so much you can do when it comes to breaking teams down. And it's not as if with Antonio Conte, he works with a squad when it comes to breaking teams down and attacking plays. It's not like that, and it's no surprise why we tend to struggle against a lot of very uber defensive teams this season. The reason why we need to get the first goal is because we need to create those spaces between the lines where Hazard and Willian can operate. We need that because we need to try and free up the flanks, especially on the right hand side, and this is where I'm hoping that Emerson's going to be playing. West Ham are going to be focusing a lot of their players on Eden Hazard. They'll probably put 3 to 4 men on him. That's going to be freeing up the flanks on the left. Now, with Marcos Alonso, he's a guy that can't really utilise the spaces efficiently on the left hand side. He has a lot of free space. He doesn't necessarily have the dribbling skills to get past someone. He can't necessarily use his pace to get to the byline. This is where Emerson can come in and be very useful for the team, and I really feel that Conte has to use him for tomorrow. Another player that needs to play in this game tomorrow is Cesc Fabregas. Now, he was getting a lot of criticism after the Spurs game, scapegoating. There were other players that should have got more criticism than him. But with Cesc Fabregas, we need him for his passing range and his vision. There's no way we can afford to have two defensive midfielders that don't really have the vision. Against West Ham, a team that don't care about possession will happily play without the ball. We need that guy that can find the pass, because a lot of times players do make runs and they need that distribution to them very quickly so they can make something happen. Too often we can be too slow. We can be way too slow against teams that are very defensive. I never understood why we don't use Cesc enough, but he's key for this game tomorrow. It's not going to be a game where strength of midfield is going to be needed or defensive work rate. West Ham are going to be parked the bus the entire time. Fabregas needs to play alongside Kante. But anyway, you guys, my score prediction for the game tomorrow is going to be 2-0. I think that we will beat West Ham. And yeah, you guys, that's my score prediction. And thank you guys for watching today's match preview. Please like, comment and subscribe. Help me get more than 300 likes for this video. Hit the bell notification button if you haven't. More and more people are listening. I think I'm on 10% now. I'd like to try and get to 20%. That's my key target to try and reach. If you haven't pressed the bell notification, press that and stay tuned to all things Blue Line CV. Anyway, you guys, I'm NiniFC. This is Blue Line CV. Signing out.